Hi everybody, welcome to the final video of Thursday. This video is focused on Isophyne. So Isophyne seems to be the cosmic killer, taking advantage of those poor defenders, the frustrating defenders that we've seen for a while, like Maestro and Serpent. It's kind of weird because it goes against the whole parameters of how Kaban put out champions, that effectively you need to pay to get some of the better champions in Marvel Contest of Champions in the future. Kaban put out a champion that you don't like as a defender? Well, there's a counter that's coming very soon. So providing it for free is very unusual, in a fantastically good and positive manner. I also don't know if this sets a standard for how the champion or champions in the idol class range, ones that we're seeing soon, will have the same thing, but the fractured power bar is a very nice touch. It definitely means it simplifies the way that you would play a champion out, but there's other things than just the fractured power bar with the Isophyne. It's still quite unusual to see a champion that is granted rank 3 Mystic Dispersion as standard, and also is rewarded with power even when the opponent does not have a buff active. This means you'll gain an absurd amount of power throughout the fight, and that's definitely something that we see, getting to those fractured power bars really quickly. And the more that I'm looking at my Mystic roster, I'm looking at very easy to access nullified champions. I'm not saying that any of these don't do that, but when there's champions like Juggernaut, who does that heavy, does that stagger, does that nullify, and you've got Doctor Doom that again does very quick to access based suppressions of buffs. The same thing with Wiccan and a few others as well. There's not just about those, there are many that do that. She is going to be, I think, one of the best, if not the best, when it comes to quick access nullify and having that very much easy for players. Having easy access champions is a massive W. I think even more massive W, that's a free champion. Command note, however, that if the champion is nullify immune, it is the counter to the champion, because, hey, you can't do any of the processes to put energy vulnerability on, and as a result you're not able to ramp up a large amount of damage to build into that particular ability and rotation. I'm jumping now to the signature ability just quickly because Kabam gave some teasers, like Mike gave some teasers about some stuff in the way that the signature ability flows, so I wanted to give it a bit of a read because you don't really get much of info from those particular live streams, and I'm sure the deep dive will give us more. But anyway, let's read. Isophyne will not let any cosmic threats escape her fate. When the cosmic opponents drops below 10%, inflict a indefinite 125% marked passive. That we know about, and that's fine. As an attacker, activating a special attack grants Isophyne a non-stacking regenerative passive, healing 0.3 to 0.6% of missing health for each ego passive over 4 seconds. So one thing I do want to find out, I do want to bring up my calculator, because I think the champion has a max of 10. If that is indeed the case, then let's just say that's 0.6% health, and we then have to go up to the top and go, okay, well, based on a 7-star, which has a health of 83,000 at rank 3, okay, so the calculation is, what I've done is, because I can't create a correct example of which, I'll have to kind of explain myself. 300, let's work on 300. Based on 50,000 missing health. How have you come to that? What's that all about, Richard? Why? How? So we're going with the fact that the champion is a 7-star champion. It is a health pool of 83,567. Now, the ability says right here that it's regenerate passive healing 0.3 to 0.6% of missing health for each ego passive over 4 seconds. So again, I'm trying to work this out that's not too ridiculous. So it's so it's 500 health, and then it's like you times that by 10 because you might have 10 ego charges, and that would mean you regen 5,000, no, 3,000. So yes, no, maybe, I don't know. So you might get that over 5 seconds. Command wouldn't allow you to get like health, constantly regen health to a stupid degree. That would just be redonkulous. It's not completely ridiculous of a theory, especially when you look on screen and see that whilst The champion's at 94%. She's ticking a plus 294, depending if that interacts with a mastery, like recovery, whatnot. That could be seen as ridiculous, but isn't. But look, that's just a constant. She can constantly regen. Can she recover to the same degree as something like King Groot over a longer fight? Is she more ideal champion to have with a string of champions, string of idle champions with synergies for something like endgame content? Quite possibly. We'll have to wait till the future and kind of figure it out. And also, you know, the next month and finding out if Isophyne is like that. But I don't think you can get the awakened ability. Either way, from what I've read so far, it just seems like a really good champion. Also, with the extra coming soon ones, you can see that there's going to be more to this than meets the eye, especially with the Founder's military might. There's also some other synergies, like Isophyne starts with 4 egos, and their max ego is increased by 2, which is good, I suppose, for increasing regen. There's also some other ones as well. Recommended masteries, double edge, because the champion is bleed immune. Well, there you go. You learn something new every day. Whether or not you want to do that, we are dipping our toe into recoil tendencies and territory, which isn't too bad if you consider the fact that if you are recoiling, the champion is able to regen. So you'd basically regen back over the damage that you've taken, and her survivability is relatively good. I'm not overly sold on the extent of the survivability yet. And survivability is the extent of regen the champion can get, and of course recover back, which in some of the video footage it actually looks relatively good. It's just we need to know more information. We'll have more information just so we can make informed decisions and also assess things a bit better. I certainly like the fact the champion, without having to, if she can build her ego charges effectively, regardless if it's just a cosmic or not, and mainly at this moment we've seen her more stronger against cosmic champions, each ego means that she gets an attack rating increase and also an energy resistance as well. Helping out with a ramp with that means that she could be more synergy dependent. Again, we don't know. But it's a strong champion, fun champion at the same time. She's also got with the SP1, first hit inflicts a 477, the energy vulnerability passive. We know about that one, max stacks to 8, and the final hit nullifies 2 buffs on the opponents. So that is rather good. And these are paused, and the vulnerability are paused during special attacks and strikers, which could mean that you're heavy dependent on SP1 rotation because it's the quick access to a special attack. However, throwing it is a different type of ball game now that you can actually make those choices with a fractured power bar, which is very, very nice. The SP2 is where the damage comes in, which we've seen in some of the footage earlier with those Fury passives, which I like. I like on his Fury passive. As a Hulk player, I do like that Fury passive, I must admit. And then SP3, we're inflicting a non-stacking degeneration passive, dealing how much? 27k for 35 seconds. Pause during special attacks. Its damage is increased by 10% for each personal energy vulnerability passive on the opponent. Wow. That's for bigger fight rotations then. That's a sneaky, decent one right there. Well, I suppose you've got to try and build up. Is it not 10? It's 8, isn't it, that you can have on that 8. So increased by 10%. So it's an 80% increase on that one. Let's do some math. That bumps that up to 49,163. Wow. Okay. That's handy for longer fights, and it extends on the repetition of that. Would you do the SP3 rotations in long haul fights? I'm interested to get my hands on the champion and trying out some of these theories and seeing if you can do that. But is that going to be, again, endgame content against a cosmic champion? Again, question marks, more question marks. But we love seeing some of the data. We love seeing the potential. And yeah, it just looks really good. I'm really excited for the champion and where I can apply the champion to. What is the best for the champion to be applied to? Either way, what are your thoughts based on what you've seen, heard, and obviously, you know, seen, heard, and seen again with the footage? Thoughts in the comments. That's been the final video of Thursday. I need to get to make another video because it's Marvel Rivals launch, and there's some stuff I need to do before I go to bed tonight. Anyway, thanks for watching. Check out some other content located on screen. The central button will take you to the Marvel Rivals channel, and I'll see you all soon. Have a lovely day, and goodbye.